You're watching Game Show Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, Garry Moore.
Thank you. Thank you, Johnny Olson. Johnny, you are in splendid voice today.
Thank you, Garry.
Your voice is like the mating cry of a passionate pizza. You're really in there today. Our first guest is a young lady who recently won a nationwide contest. And we'll meet her in a moment, right after we say hello to our panel here on To Tell the Truth.
Larry Blyden. Peggy, Bill Cullen. And star of British TV, Shirley Moore.
And Shirley Lord, sitting in for Kitty Carlisle. Nice to have you back with us, Shirley.
Nice to be in.
And here we're going to go right to work on this particular problem because it's such a delightful one. Let us meet our teenage title holder.
Number one. What is your name, please?
My name is Rewa Walsh.
Number two.
My name is Rewa Walsh.
Number three.
My name is Rewa Walsh.
And your delightful task, of course, is to find out which one is the real Rewa Walsh, and here is her teenage tale. I, Rewa Walsh, hold the title of Miss Teenage America. This event is not a beauty contest. It's an annual competition to find the one girl between the ages of 13 and 17 who truly represents her generation. Thus, the winner is chosen on the basis of scholarship and awareness, talent and poise, as well as appearance. Over 75,000 girls compete for this singular honor, which carries with it a $10,000 scholarship to the college of your choice. As Miss Teenage America, I will try to be a well-informed and open-minded spokeswoman for the youth of America. No matter what age, color, or nationality one may be, there is one language that can unify all nations of the world, and that is the language of friendship. Signed, Rewa Walsh. Aren't they pretty?
I'll say
Yeah.
boy.
We'll be right back after a few things from you-know-who.
What is the last Jewish food you ate?
I haven't been Jewish in a long
From Hollywood, it's the Newlywed Game. And here's the host of our show, Bob Eubanks.
During the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the Newlywed Game was America's favorite game show.
I don't have a pink
the one that shrunk. You don't.
I never wore that with you. I mean,
Now, for the first time ever, you can own this hilarious one-hour video. Classic moments of the Newlywed Game.
Did the doctor give him anything for his urban?
He gave me something.
Was a cake.
Classic moments of the Newlywed Game is specially priced at just $19.95. Order with your credit card, and we'll send you as an added bonus the lost episodes of the Newlywed Game. This collector's edition of segments never released to the public is yours if you call the number on your screen now.
Is your floor covered with linen hair? Don't get stuck. Stick It. Introducing Stick It, the rolling cleaner that dirt sticks to like a super magnet. It cleans lint, feathers, dust, and hair. Run it under water and rinse off dirt like it was never there. Super sticky when dry, super slick when wet. Use it over and over. Easy grip extension handle stretches to clean dusty drapes, dirty corners. Stick It cleans floors fast for just $19.95. Rinse away sugar, sand, and salt in seconds. Will include Stick It handheld roller. Great for countertop spills, party mess. Glitter's gone in a flash. Also receive Stick It clothing cleaner. White rabbit on your black coat. Stick It cleans up in seconds. That's the Stick It 4-roller, handheld roller, and the clothing roller, all for just $19.95. Don't get stuck. Stick it, stick it.
To order Stick It, use your credit card and call 1-800-894-9933 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $5.95 shipping to Stick It, P.O. Box 20, Department GS, Los Angeles, California 90051.
I cannot live another day without air conditioning.
Says tomorrow's going to be hotter.
Hotter?
Like yesterday.
Yesterday? Yesterday you said you'd call Sears.
I'll call today.
You call now.
I'll call now.
Now's the time to save on Sears installed central air conditioning. Get 0% finance charge, no billing, and no payments until October with the Sears Charge Home Improvement Plan. Call now for a free in-home estimate on a Kenmore air conditioning system. State-of-the-art engineering means greater energy efficiency. A new Kenmore could save 10 to 44% on your annual cooling costs. In time, even pay for itself. Sears also offers fast emergency installation, a 5-year warranty on parts and labor, plus our satisfaction guarantee. And you know Sears will be there to back it up. Get 0% finance charge, no billing, no payments until October. Offer ends July 31st, so call now and save with Sears.
So what's the paper say about tomorrow?
Another scorcher.
Cool.
Now, the thing about it is that each of these three delightful young creatures claims to be Rewa Walsh, Miss Teenage America, and let's start the questioning with pretty as a picture, Shirley Lord.
Number 1, when were you elected?
I was chosen Miss Teenage America December 5th.
And number 2, where did the election take place?
In Fort Worth, Texas.
Number 3, how did you come about your name, Rewa, which I've never heard before?
Rewa is an Aborigine name for hope.
For hope?
Yes.
So that means you came originally from Australia?
Yes, it does.
Or your family did? Number 2, in the final election, how many girls, as it were competing?
50, one from each state.
And did you all meet together in Fort Worth, Texas?
Yes.
And number 1, were you asked specific questions? It says scholarship, so were you asked on general knowledge questions?
We were asked questions that would pertain to the generation of today by approximately 20 different judges throughout the week.
On philosophy and that sort of thing?
Yes.
Number 3, what is the college of your choice?
Well, I really haven't planned about it, but I would think Berkeley.
And why have you chosen Berkeley?
Because I think it's the center of things that are really happening. It's a radical college.
And number 2?
All right. By the way, while I'm at it, 1, 2, and 3, if you all three of you can give me just a little more voice, please. It's not ladylike to shout, but be a little louder.
Why not?
Peggy and her dulcet tones. Let's go to Larry Blyden.
Number 2, why does a contest stop at the age of 17? Why doesn't it include 18 and 19?
Because one is essentially supposed to be an adult at 18.
I didn't know that. Legally, or just with any luck at all?
I haven't reached that age yet, so I'm not sure.
All right, number 1, what do you do on the contest to win it?
We are judged for 8 days in Fort Worth, Texas, on our poise, personality, and talent, but we're judged essentially on our scholastic awareness.
Okay, number 3, is it the same kind of performance level that you have to do as Miss America? Do you have to sing a song or recite a poem or what?
Yes, you have to have a talent, and they judge you on your talent.
What was your talent, number 3?
I recited the words to Born Free as I sketched a lion.
I see, okay.
I'd like to see that. Peggy?
Number 2, what did you do for your talent? Well, I was born with a big set of biceps, and I sort of became a gymnast. Did gymnastics, worked at music.
Number 1, what was your talent?
I did my own interpretation to The Impossible Dream, a modern dance.
Oh, what's the college of your choice, number 1?
I'd love to go to UCSD, the University of California, San Diego, at La Jolla.
Oh, and number 2, where would you like to go?
Sarah Lawrence.
Oh, number 3, do you think the sponsors of Teenage America almost dropped dead when you said you wanted to go to a radical college? I mean, they're pretty, is it more or less a square kind of a thing?
No, not really, because Miss Teenage America is expected to voice her own, opinions.
Now, number 2, when they say awareness, do they mean awareness of, like, politics, or what kind of awareness?
Yes, political awareness, and I think young people my age these days are concerned, or more concerned, with things like ecology and politics and students' rights in colleges and things like that.
Okay, and that takes us to Bill Cullen.
Number 1, did you return to school, high school, I assume? Did you return to high school after you were named Miss Teenage America?
Yes.
Did things change?
No, I'm very lucky. My friends are treating me exactly as they always have, which is very well.
And you're pleased with that?
Very much so.
Number 3, has there been any change in your life since you've received this honor?
Definitely, yes.
What like, for instance?
Oh, well, I'll walk down the street and people will notice me more than they ever did before.
Do you like that?
Of course.
I know when they first started noticing me, I was very flattered, too.
Lots of people whistle, Bill.
Yeah. Number 2, how old are you?
I'm 15.
Number 3?
17.
Oh, dear. Number 1?
I'm 17 and a half.
That's 72 and a half, I think, altogether. So now we're even, Larry. We're the same age.
All right, Bill. That wipes out the questioning period. On the basis of what we learned, we must vote. And we vote for number 1, or we vote for number 2, or we vote for number 3. No matter how you vote, it costs us $50 if you get the wrong vote, $500 if all the votes are wrong, and Shirley Lord.
Well, it's very difficult because they're all such delightful girls, but I discounted number 3 because I don't think she'd wear a crown. Number 2 I don't think really sat perhaps as upright as number 1, who undoubtedly gets my vote. Number 1.
Well, goes for number 1. Maybe number 2, it's those heavy biceps that makes her sit that way. You know, who knows? Let's go down to Larry Blyden.
Well, I voted for number 1 also, Bill, because I remember when I was young, it's hard to remember that far back, but during those times, I always thought of myself as 17 and a half or 15 and 3/4, but never just whatever age it was. And also, she smiles a lot.
And winners do that.
They tend to do that.
So, all right, we got 1 for 1 and 2 for 1, and Peggy with her mouth open what? Ready to say something.
Yes, well, I voted for number 1 as well, because she took scholastic awareness, and you know, those talent contests never want you to be politically aware. They just want you to do good homework.
And we have 3 1s, and we have a Bill Cullen coming up.
Well, gee whiz, I didn't notice that number 2 wasn't sitting erectly. I noticed that number 3 was, but in any event, I voted for number 2.
All right, that's your privilege, and there we go. We have 3 1s and 1 2, and will the real Rewa Walsh please stand up? Hey! We'll be back to talk to you in a minute, Rewa. Let's find out about number 2. Number 2, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Sandra Smith, and I work for the Shirley Club of New York. I'm a lady balloon pilot and an airplane pilot.
Hey, how old is she?
Busy girl. Number 2, of course, it is your privilege not to tell the truth, and it isn't that I don't trust your word every single bit, but you said that you had not yet reached 18, I believe. Is this accurate?
No.
I will not pursue the question further. Let's go to number 3. Number 3, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Vaughn Dietrich, and I'm a sculptress.
Ah, very nice. Rewa, who was the sponsor of the teenage contest?
Dr. Pepper is the national sponsor.
Oh, Dr. Pepper was my first sponsor ever in radio, way back in 1900, when I was a teenager. And Rewa and friends, thank you ever so much for being here with us on To Tell the Truth. Now we got one that's going to shake you up a little bit. Our next guest is a controversial ex-athlete with very strong views about a popular sport. And we'll meet him in a moment right after this quarterback sneak.
Poor Joe. I'll bet life is no fun since he can't get around anymore.
It's a shame about Joe, but what about Marge? Now he's totally dependent on her. She's gone from wife to caregiver.
They obviously haven't heard that Joe got a Rascal from Electric Mobility. With a Rascal, you can shop, visit friends, and enjoy the great outdoors. The unique take-apart frame makes the Rascal easy to transport in your car or van. Rascals are made in America and built to last. They're comfortable, too, with easy-to-use, just one-hand controls. If it doesn't say Rascal, it isn't. When I recommended a Rascal, it was for transportation. I had no idea how much it would improve Marge and Joe's lives.
Call 1-800-909-7766 now for a free, no-obligation, in-home Rascal demonstration. That's 1-800-909-7766. Call now.
What can make your tomorrow better than today? A promotion? A great paying job? A new career? At ICS, more than 10 million men and women have prepared for new careers without setting foot inside a classroom. And now at home, in your spare time, you can get your diploma or degree. Choose from any one of these courses. Then call toll-free for free information about training with ICS.
Call 1-800-351-1500 right now for free information. There's no obligation, so call 1-800-351-1500.
Thank you for calling the Password 4. Now showing on Screen 1, the original Password primetime starring Alan Ludden with some of your favorite stars. Screen 2 features the first color Password. Alan Ludden again hosts this classic show. Showing in Theater 3, Password Plus. Host Alan Ludden adds a puzzle and alphabetics to this industry favorite. Theater 4 presents Super Password, featuring Bert Convy, notable guests, and studio contestants. Thank you for choosing the Password 4, weekends from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern.
And now let's meet our outspoken athlete.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Dave Meggyesy.
Number 2.
My name is Dave Meggyesy.
Number 3.
My name is Dave Meggyesy.
And here is Dave Meggesy's message, as follows. I, Dave Meggyesy, am a former professional football player. While at the height of my career, I came to the realization that football is one of the most dehumanizing experiences a person can face. Specifically, football represents our violent culture and the mode of authoritarianism. Behind the televised glitter of the game lies a sordid picture of hypocrisy, payoffs, racism, and drug abuse. Recently, I quit professional football cold. I have written a book on my years in college and professional football. It is called Out of Their League. It's sad but true that after 14 years as a player, I really can't say whether or not there's any basic worth to the game at all. Signed, Dave Meggyesy. And obviously the front of the book doesn't really look like this, but whenever the author's picture is on the book, we have to paste it over like that so the panel will recognize it. That's really it. I didn't want you to think he had that blank in the expression, you know. Now, let's start the questioning with a gal who's deflected a few passes in her day, Miss Peggy Cash.
Number 1, what position did you play?
Linebacker.
Thank you. Number 3, which team? In pros.
In the pros?
Yeah.
St. Louis Cardinals.
Thank you. And number 2, where'd you go to college?
Syracuse University.
Thank you. And number 1, why do you think people dig football? I mean, the people, spectators.
Well, I think that they dig it because of the violent nature of the game, and they want to see violence, and they identify with it.
I quite agree with you. Number 3, if you get, you often see players limp off, during a game, and like 5 minutes later they're skipping back. Do they ever they jazz them up? They give them Novocaine. How do they get them back on the field?
A lot of times, you're correct. A lot of times Novocaine is given directly to the point of injury.
Yeah, but number 3, well, couldn't that permanently injure a person if they played on Novocaine when it was like a bad knee or something?
It could, yes. You could damage the injury a lot further and never know it.
Well, number 1, do you think that, for instance, the doctors in college football are as careful as the doctors in pro football?
I would say they're probably less careful.
Thank you. Now, number 2, is it true that people get up for a game by taking Bennies? Dexies? Dexies, up.
Dexedrines?
Yeah. Did they prepare for a game by taking up?
Well, it's known to happen.
Yeah, well, number 1, after the game, what do they do, take downs? I mean, how do they come down again?
Yes, that's essentially what happens after you take Benzedrine or Dexedrine. You need to take a down or a barbiturate to bring you down.
And number 3, how do they...
Thank you, Peggy. That takes us to Bill Cullen.
And after you take 3 downs, you kick. Thought I'd mention that. Number 3. Number 3. How many men are eligible on the offense to receive a pass?
4.
What are they, number 3?
What are the positions?
The eligible men, yes.
Well, you've got the 2 ends and the 2 backs.
Why is it number 2 in the rule book, a quarterback, as a rule, in the T formation, is not eligible to catch a pass?
Quarterback is, he can hand off the ball, go out in the flat, go past the line of scrimmage, and he can catch a pass.
Do you agree with that, number 1?
Yes.
Number 2, where does the middle linebacker, what's the middle linebacker's responsibility in a zone defense on a short pass? 2 men are out.
2 men are out. The middle linebacker has to watch the flank if he comes across into his zone.
Number one, what's usually the reason for two pass receivers crisscrossing not far behind the line of scrimmage?
To confuse the particular defensive halfbacks that are covering them.
Number three, what kind of defense does St. Louis use on pass, zone or man-to-man?
Zone.
Okay, hey, Bill, you're hot. Poor Shirley, Lord, yesterday we gave you Dune Buggy Shirley from England. Now we're giving her football.
Nevertheless, I've got a very good question. Number two,
Good.
how many touchdowns in an inning?
How many touchdowns in an inning?
Right.
Have many touchdowns in a lot of time.
Well,
60
number
minutes.
three, why did everybody laugh?
Because there is no such thing as an inning in football.
Well, why did you ask it? Tell me not to ask.
Oh, Cullen, you skunk.
Okay, I forgive you. You wait, okay. Number one, I'm sorry to be very ignorant, but do you take the oxygen for your ups as well on the sidelines?
Well, oxygen is thought to give you extra energy on the sideline.
But you know, number two, our poor English footballers play the same teams right throughout the whole game. They don't need oxygen, and there's only just 11 men each side. I mean, I'm sorry, but why are there so many number twos?
There's 11 players.
Why do you change all the time, number two?
Because the 60-minute game is very taxing on your body and your mind mentally.
Well, number three, have you ever played English football?
Just a little bit.
Well, don't you think it's much more taxing?
No.
All right.
Well, that takes us down the end to Larry Blyden.
Okay, number three, how does racism show itself in the game?
Well, it shows itself in a lot of ways. Specifically, there's a lot of segregation, even in the training camps. After hours, a lot of the white players would go to one bar. You never see the black players there.
Okay, number two, why did you write the book?
Well, I got sick and tired of being a dehumanized human being, and I just wanted to express my emotions, how I felt about football, and how I was disgusted about life in general with
Okay,
it.
number one, isn't violence, in your opinion, maybe better observed than participated in? Don't you feel that football might provide some kind of a release of violent tendencies?
Yes, I think that's exactly why the game exists, to provide this outlet for people to identify with violence.
Okay, number three, do you think that's a bad thing or a good thing?
In many ways, it's good. It's just the only objection I had to it was to the extent the violence existed.
Okay.
To how much violence there was.
Number two, how old are you now?
I'm 28 now.
Okay, number three, what did you weigh when you played?
205.
Number one, what do you weigh now?
215.
Okay, number two.
That does us in. We've got now to make up our minds. We must mark our ballots. We mark them for number one, or for number two, or for number three. As usual, we pay $50 for each wrong vote, $500 if none of the votes is correct, and Peggy starts.
Well, I heard that Mr. Meggyesy was not only a football player, but something of a hippie, and the hippiest looking one of them all is number one, so I voted for him.
All right. And from there, we go to Bill Cullen.
Well, I recognize, Dave, being a sports fan, and I perhaps shouldn't say this, but by and large, I agree with what he wrote, too. Not everything, but by and large, I think it's too commercial and too crass. And because it is, I put down a 0, which disqualifies me, and that makes me the center in the diagram. You see,
Yeah, and that's a pretty fat football you drew there, too. So in any event, he's got disqualification, which counts as a wrong vote, and Shirley working what must be just instinct.
No, I know quite a lot about it after meeting all these gentlemen. And I think it's number three because he's got a little troubled frown, and I think he cares. I think it's him.
So one vote for a troubled frown. Then we go to Larry Blyden.
Well, I voted for number three primarily because of the way his shoulders are set.
But the big shoulders, huh?
No, because they slope. They have the look of somebody who's smiling in there from time to time.
All right, well, let's see how it ties in with your votes at home. Will the real Dave Meggyesy please stand up? Thank you, Dave. Let's find out about your teammates. Number two, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Art Heyman, and I own the Gobbler's Knob restaurant on 1461 First Avenue.
Oh, good place. Yeah. Number three, you got two wrong votes. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My real name is Richard Russell, and I sing alto in the choir of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine.
That's what... That's what gives the most sloping. It's going for those high notes. It makes your shoulders slope every time.
Very low shoulders or a very high diaphragm.
Dave, I read with great interest the review of your book in the New York Times not long ago, which was excellent. And it was reviewed at the same time along with a book about the life of Vince Lombardi.
Right.
And it said that when you started out, you were the most gung-ho of players.
That's
But the other guys on your team, that you were so true blue All-American, push, 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 that they almost made fun of you.
Right.
What happened along the way?
Well, I think it was a process of coming to the realization about the nature of the game, and that perhaps in playing football I wasn't doing very much for the people who were in the stands, and it was a personal decision and a political decision to eventually get out of the game after 14 years of playing football in this country.
What it really comes down to was it had to do more with your social awareness, really, than the game itself. Isn't that the way I read the book, or I read the book and enjoyed it?
That's exactly true. I think that football is not a sport as such. It's a spectacle, and it's a political spectacle in this country, and that's why 77 million or more will watch the Super Bowl, roughly a third of the population.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you something. Don't you think you owe anything to football? I mean, I don't know how kind of a childhood you had, but don't you owe any kind of social mobility to football?
Peggy, no, I don't think so, because I always have to ask the other question, what football got from me, and I think they got a hell of a lot more from me than I got from them, if you will.
Gee, we could go on and on, but the time has run out. And Dave, thank you very much for being with us. I do recommend the book. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for being with us here on To Tell the Truth.
Thank you.
I found a better way to whiten my teeth. Plus White Ultra. Their special soft foam mouth tray makes the peroxide whitening gel work faster and better for perfect results. Plus White Ultra.
Want to go curly? Get Wash and Curl, the shampoo with curl enhancers that work right in the shower. Thousands and thousands of women have gone curly with Wash and Curl, the curling shampoo.
Ashamed of your nails because they break and won't grow? Get Nutrinail, the hydrating formula that ends brittleness. They're beautiful. Nutrinail. Nails grow. Guaranteed.
One loan, one payment each month, and nothing more.
Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
If you're like most homeowners, you're paying a mortgage, several credit cards, and an auto loan each month. That's why the Money Store introduced the combo loan. With a combo loan from the Money Store, you can refinance your mortgage and consolidate your bills. You'll have one loan, one payment, and write just one check each month.
Plus, the interest can be tax deductible.
One loan, one payment with a combo loan from the Money Store. Call 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Sprint's dime-a-minute rate is getting rave reviews.
Sprint Sense is great. I can call my sister in Kansas for only 10 cents a minute.
Now I call my folks in New York 3 times a week. For just a dime a minute, why not? That's right. All over the country, people have been signing up for Sprint's simple low rate. Call now and you'll pay just 10 cents a minute on state-to-state calls every evening, every night, and all weekend long.
We've got a daughter in college in Los Angeles, so 10 cents a minute is terrific for us.
And it's just 10 cents a minute to Canada on weekends.
So what are you waiting for? Call now.
Know what I like best? When I call back home, I'm earning 10% cash back.
It's like a great big tip at the end of the year. And Sprint's dime-a-minute rate is good forever. So call now.
Dime a minute? I rate it at 10.
You just can't beat Sprint Sense. Get a dime a minute and 10% cash back. Call now. 1-800-425-6060.
You're watching Game Show Network, where What's My Line is next with Larry Blyden, followed by the dating game and the newlywed game.
Shirley, Lord, it takes longer than 7 seconds to say goodbye to a pretty and bright young lady, but you will come back, won't you?
I would like to. Thank
Shirley
you.
Lord, and we will see the rest of you tomorrow come this time. Take care, and thank you, sir.
Transportation and other considerations provided by Chevrolet. Featuring the 1971 Chevelle, America's most popular mid-size car, new bumpers and grills, same solid, dependable performance at a Chevrolet price. Hotel accommodations, courtesy of the luxurious Park Sheraton Hotel, home of the famous Mermaid Room. Right in the heart of Manhattan, convenient to everything. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Cullen production.
The groovy games continue as Larry Blyden hosts What's My Line, next on Game Show Network. You're watching Game Show Network.